Reimbursement for travel-related expenses is not the same for all orders types, so it is vital you are aware of these differences when submitting travel vouchers, to avoid making mistakes or experiencing a delay in repayment. This video will explain how to submit travel vouchers to receive reimbursements for eligible expenses. At the end of this video, you will find additional resources and information. All travel, including AT in conjunction with IDT, RPA, MPA, and CED orders, are processed through DTS. IDT outside normal commuting distance, mileage only, and IDT local vouchers are also filed in DTS, but there are some unique instructions for those cases. We'll review those in this video too. This video covers what you will need to submit a voucher, creating a voucher, voucher rules for different orders types, and more information and resources. To submit a travel voucher, you will need the following: access to the Defense Travel System, or DTS, an approved authorization in DTS for your travel. To review steps for completing an authorization, watch the DTS authorizations video. And your travel receipts. In DTS, you need to be gained to your HQ Rio detachment, not your active duty unit. To begin creating your voucher, log into DTS and select Create New Document. Under Create New Document, select Voucher. After selecting Voucher, your approved authorizations will appear. Identify the correct trip and select Create Voucher. Next, you will add your expenses. Select expenses and update any information that you provided in the authorization. Next, select Add for any new expenses, and attach receipts for any expense over $75. Here are some travel circumstances that could impact what you need to enter for expenses. If you flew, you will need to separate your TMC service fee from your airline ticket receipt and claim the expenses separately. For trips taken after April 1, 2024, you have to submit a constructed travel worksheet, or CTW, anytime you drove to and from the duty location, regardless of mileage. For trips taken before April 1, 2024, you only need to submit a CTW if the mileage driven was over 400 miles one way. DTS may generate a Certificate of Non-Availability, or CNA, if it determines no base lodging is available. If DTS generates a CNA, which is visible on the other authorizations and pre-audit page, you are not required to contact base lodging for a non-availability letter. If you have hotel taxes, remember to separate those from the hotel costs as its own expense. Some states shouldn't charge you hotel taxes. DTS should flag this. If an order's modification was issued after the travel started, make sure you upload the modification document. When all expenses have been entered, proceed to per diem. Before you add anything to the per diem screen, you must make sure your itinerary is correct. Otherwise, if you change your itinerary later, DTS will reset everything on the per diem page. Within the per diem options menu, scroll down to the training type drop-down menu to select the appropriate duty status. If you were on annual tour, you will need to annotate that here. Check to make sure your lodging cost and lodging allowed match. DTS estimates your costs, but they may not be what you actually incurred. Keep in mind that IR should be familiar with the DoD's Integrated Lodging Program, or ILP, when traveling. The Joint Travel Regulations require IRs serving their orders at an ILP location to use DoD lodging, privatized lodging, or DoD preferred commercial lodging before other lodging options. If you don't stay at one of these preferred lodging options, your reimbursement will be limited to the government rate. The ILP policy applies to all types of vouchers that contain lodging claims. Next, select Adjust per diem amounts. On this screen, you should update your hotel nightly rate. It is common that travelers will need to request actual expense reimbursement for lodging. The Lodging Allowed column on the per diem page shows the traveler the maximum lodging rate for that locality. If the lodging expense incurred exceeds the lodging allowed amount, the traveler will need to select the actual lodging amount checkbox on this screen and provide justification to the AO describing the circumstances that prevented the traveler from seeking a hotel within the maximum lodging rate. You will also annotate if meals were available. This meal information is written on your orders and is determined by available facilities. Personal choice to not utilize the dining facility when lodged on base does not constitute full M&IE entitlement. When finished, select Save Adjustments. Next, check your information for accuracy in the Profile section. If you update your banking EFT information or your government travel charge card information in your main profile, you will need to update that information in your current and in-progress vouchers. That information will not automatically update in your in-progress documents. Make sure your banking and GTCC information are correct in the EFT and credit card accounts tab on this screen. Once you enter the updated information, select Refresh Account Data. On the Other Authorizations or Pre-Audits page, you may receive either an Other Authorization, a pre-audit, or an advisory flag on your voucher. Typically, you won't need to make changes to other authorizations because this information will be incorporated into your authorization. But sometimes, you need to add an Other Authorization when DTS flags certain travel items, such as a charge incurred for excess baggage or that a non-compact car was authorized. You always need to enter a comment for other authorizations. If you receive a pre-audit, DTS has flagged items for exceeding cost thresholds, or selections that break travel policy without specific approving official approval. You must provide a justification for each flagged item, explaining why the AO should approve it. Some pre-audit flags require you to provide a reason code, explaining further deviation from policy. An advisory flag is information only. No justification or reason code is needed. The advisory simply serves as an alert of potential concerns or a reminder of certain items. If you receive an audit fail notice, you will need to complete a few more steps before finishing your voucher. DTS requires you to attach a receipt for all lodging and any expense of $75 or more. When a required receipt is missing, DTS generates an audit fail message during the signing process, causing a hard stop. You will need to return to the expenses screen and attach the missing document. On the Sign and Submit page, select the appropriate routing list and provide necessary comments. Once you have selected the routing list and added comments, you are ready to sign the authorization and submit. Congratulations! You've submitted your voucher, but you're not done yet. You will need to monitor the email associated with your DTS profile in case it is returned for errors. You can also log into DTS and select vouchers to see your status. Common stamps are created, signed, reviewed, returned, and approved. Your voucher goes through 2 levels of approval. DTS review is completed by the HQ Rio IR Travel Office, and the DTS approval is completed by your debt approving official. Next, we'll cover some important information about AT in conjunction with IDT and IDT outside normal commute. Travel reimbursement for AT in conjunction with IDT orders requires you to file 2 separate travel vouchers. One for your AT orders, and the other for your IDT orders. This is because the funding to cover the AT portion of your orders and the IDT portion of your orders comes from separate sources. Page 2 of AF Form 938 further spells out travel authorizations. Looking at letter F, you can see this IR has received authorization to complete these AT orders, back-to-back with IDT orders. For annual tour in conjunction with an active duty training, IRs should be familiar with these unique steps and rules. When you combine AT with IDT orders, you are allowed certain expenses on AT that are not reimbursable on IDT. So, you must prorate expenses for the annual tour portion. For example, if you use a rental car on AT and IDT duty, you are only allowed reimbursement for the AT days. You must prorate that rental car expense. You can adjust the per diem page to reflect elapsed travel time, including IDT. The per diem page must reflect $0 for M&IE on the IDT days, because M&IE is not reimbursable on IDT orders. No per diem is payable while in annual tour status at a location where government meals and lodging are available. For AT, IRs cannot submit a missed meals form or other justification that would change the M&IE rate to a different rate than what is listed in the directory. IDT outside normal commute distance is not a commonly used travel type for IRs. It applies to IRs who meet certain qualifications with their AFSC. For travel to be considered outside of your normal commute, the commute must be 150 or more miles one way to the duty station. Travel due to IDT outside normal commute is authorized to receive both IDT outside normal commute travel reimbursement and IDT lodging reimbursement. However, you must submit 2 separate travel vouchers. One for transportation expenses, if you are eligible, and one for lodging. You can check your IDT travel reimbursement circumstances in the IDT reimbursement guide, linked in this video's description. At this point, you can enter other expenses that were not allowed to be on the authorization, such as tolls, ferry fees, taxis, etc. If the IDT outside normal commute distance travel type applies to you, be familiar with these rules. Reimbursement is limited to $500. Travel reimbursement is only for expenses incurred during round-trip travel between the starting point and duty location. Any expenses incurred on a non-travel day in IDT status are not reimbursable. Under no circumstances can you be reimbursed for a rental car expense while in IDT status, even if another unit is willing to pay for it. And mileage is paid at the other lower rate. IDT local vouchers are for lodging expense reimbursement claims while in IDT status. It is not used for expense claims related to traveling to and from IDT duty. This is the most common purpose for a local voucher document. Local vouchers are also for round-trip mileage-only claims. This is when an RC member travels daily between the duty location and home of record, and typically within a commute distance radius. A member receives 1 round-trip mileage for the whole tour. Distance is based on the actual odometer reading. Local vouchers are routed directly to the approving official's HQ Rio Travel Office. It does not get routed to your detachment. After you have performed your duty, submit a local voucher with actual amounts. You should not enter a future date. It does not estimate expenses like a DTS authorization does. No per diem is paid, and you cannot make transportation reservations in a local voucher. For more information, check out HQ Rio's video on submitting travel authorizations in DTS. For more help on DTS topics, you can also visit the Defense Travel Management Office's training library. This video's description includes useful links to DTS, AROS-R, HQ Rio quick guides, and more.